Are you asking yourself, how can I stop my bird from biting? Well, if so, you've come to the right spot. My name is Dave Womack, and I run the website mybirdtips.com. Today I have a video for you on exactly that, how to get my bird to stop biting me. So in just a moment, we'll head through these doors to my right, we'll open them up, go into one of the cages, and show you how to train a bird through the bars of the cage so you don't ever have to get bitten. So here's a free tip on how to get your bird to stop biting without even having to ever worry about getting bitten. First thing is get him used to understanding that every single time he hears a click from a clicker, he gets a reward. In this case, I have his rewards here on this little table next to me. And also go get yourself a brand new chopstick that's never been used, doesn't have any saliva on it, is really the main thing. And the idea is to just slowly and gently introduce this into your bird's environment in such a way that doesn't scare him, but that he's just going to be curious enough and he reaches over and he happens to touch it with his beak or his tongue. That's kind of natural in the outdoor environment. So I'm going to do that right here, right now, with Storm, who, by the way, is a ferocious biter. And he's staying with us for just a little bit of time as we can hopefully rehab him a little bit. So here's just a little bit of an example of how this would work. Very slowly, carefully introducing it. And give him his reward. Now that was a little bit bigger piece of a reward than I wanted to give him. But he's understanding that, hey, I touched that and I get a treat. I can redo that. So here's a quick tip on how to get your bird to stop biting. If you have a bird that just loves to bite and it seems like you don't know why or can't really put a reason behind it, this little tip will help you a lot. I have with me a little bit of treats, which don't need to be in the shot. I also have a clicker and a chopstick. The chopstick doesn't have my saliva on it. In fact, it's a brand new chopstick. Very important. I also have a clicker, which you can get from any pet shop. They're like $2 each. Now, I have with us Storm, who is a very aggressive parrot and just an extremely ferocious biter. He's actually a client of mine. It's their parrot, and they said, hey, can you fix him up a little bit and make him nicer for us? He's kind of a one-person bird. He's okay with my wife, but he just tears the hell out of my hand. So I want to give you a little tip on how to make this work. First thing is just stand in front of the cage for a little bit, click, and then give the bird its favorite treat. Now you'll notice since this bird does like to bite me, I have the treat on a fork so he can't bite me, right? Don't have to worry about ever being bitten during this process. And the idea is to just slowly introduce this chopstick. Get my treat ready here. Slowly introduce the chopstick in the bird's environment. I'm not poking at him, I'm not going quickly or aggressively, but his inquisitive nature will soon get the best of him, so he reaches out, gently touches the end of the stick. Reach in, give him his favorite treat reward. Now the idea here is that the treats are a small size, so it doesn't take him, a minute or even 30 seconds to eat. In fact, he's finished with it now. So that's a good amount of time. You want it to maybe be 5 seconds, if that. But it was a very good treat. He likes doing that. So I'll do that one more time here. You'll notice that I'm not rewarding him biting the stick. He's just gently touching it. Just the tip of his beak is really all that mattered there. Okay, gets his favorite treat. And the benefit of what's about to happen here is we now have a language that we can communicate with each other. In the wild, birds have language of their feathers raising and lowering in certain places, their eyes pinning at certain moments that other birds totally understand. Just like one person speaking English understands another person speaking English. Well, the problem is he speaks parrot and I speak English. That doesn't correlate. It's like us trying to read Japanese. I mean, it's impossible unless, of course, you've been trained. So now I'm training him that every time he hears that click, he gets food, and simply by touching the end of the stick, he gets food. So if he accidentally gets out, after this is developed, only after a few days to maybe a week, I can actually use this stick to be able to get him to go back into the cage. And pretty soon I'll be able to get him to move around the cage in doing so. Now I'm going to try this one more time. This is still a really new behavior for him. He doesn't totally understand. Let's see if I can just get him to turn around here. If I can, that'll be a pretty big breakthrough. He's a brand new bird. Just had him at the house here for a little over 24 hours. It only worked with him one other time. Perfect. He's turned around, touches the stick, And that's a really good example of the fact that he's just now starting to understand what that means. So I think you can start to see the possibilities of how this will actually open up that door of communication with your parrot. Eventually, what I will be able to do is put my hand in the cage, have him touch the stick near my hand, and eventually have him come onto my hand to touch the stick. All of this can happen without him actually biting me. If you enjoyed this video, or maybe didn't quite answer the exact question you were looking for, go over to mybirdtips.com and just enter in your email address. What I'll do right away is I'll send you some free information and a free video that will help get you through your parrot's behavior problems.